Good morning from sunny San Diego.
Good morning,
Drum
everyone.
roll. This is Your Healthy Biz episode 6. This is awesome. Every Thursday, except for one so far, we've been able to do this at 9:30 for 20 minutes.
2 minutes cap.
Yep.
Or
So we're working to cover topics that are very relevant in the workplace and relevant to you in what you do in your life. So workplace could be anywhere you work, even if you work alone. But some of these things that we're going to talk about today are very much, they can help you in your personal life too. So the morale, it's just, so I, as part of our company, Para runs everything. My focus is on developing relationships in the military and corporate realm, which is very fun. It's very fulfilling for me. And one of the things that's come up over and over again is this idea that morale is low and we want to improve it. And oftentimes the company knows that their health, they need to get physically healthy, but the morale is the biggest issue that comes up over and over and over again. So we want to address that today. And I think it's particularly poignant in a sense that we know that there's 22 plus veterans who commit suicide a day. Last year we had Anthony Bourdain and Kate Spade, two very public figures, commit suicide. We put out, every time we do a cohort in the military and in the corporate realm, we put out a questionnaire and we ask people how they're doing, how they're coping, both in their relationships, in their job, in their personal life. And it come to find out, a lot of people, they're not sleeping enough. They're on their tech too much.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have quality relationships around them. And yet they put on this face that everything's okay.
Yeah, lots of emotional energy outflow and not a whole lot of inflow.
So we want to address that because there's, I think the more we can start talking about these things, the more leaders that start talking about these things, the more people realize they're not alone. And therefore, they can get the help they need. Because it's the research shows that 80% of those people that actually ask for help and get help will get better. So that's a huge number. And 1 in 4 Americans suffer with anxiety or depression or both. So in your office space, think about 1 in 4 people who actually came forward and said they have depression or anxiety or been diagnosed. There's a lot of people that go undiagnosed. If those people actually get the help they need, even if it's just someone to talk to, learning how to be vulnerable, like 80% can actually get better.
Yeah.
So that's pretty awesome.
We don't want to paint that morale is just a mental health or emotional health thing. It could be a systemic thing that's built into your organization.
Yes.
And we'll talk about that a bit here. Though at an individual level, very, very often what Dr. T here is talking about is a root cause of some level of morale. There's so many factors that go into it, but we'll share a little bit about our own experience, individuals and as business owners, and in the past, Dr. T was in the military, so that's a giant bureaucratic organization. I myself ran a couple companies, had bosses, had managers, where morale suffered. So let's talk. You want to talk a little bit about past experience before we jump into top 5?
I think mine will go as I talk about my 5.
Okay.
I'll be bringing in my experience.
Okay.
So.
Well,
yeah.
We're going to jump right into our top 10 reasons why morale is low and what you can do about it.
So you're coming at it from more of a business perspective.
Yes.
And then I'm coming at it from more of a clinical perspective. But we both have, I'm sure you've had morale issues in the places you've worked.
That's what I'm drawing on. Yes.
Yeah. So we're going to bring our personal experiences into this in our top 5. So who do you want to go first? Why don't you go first? Actually, I'd like to hear the business.
Okay. So shall I go all 5, or you want to go back and forth on this?
I think we should go back and forth.
Okay, we'll start with number 5. So, this is a little bit of a cheat. So my 4 and 5 are in combination. So I'm gonna have to deliver 2 at once.
Okay.
All right. So again, I'm coming at this from just a systemic organizational standpoint. That's kind of where my experience is and where my mind goes. So morale is low typically because the organization, your organization, has a faulty compass or has no roots. So when I talk about compass, so if in your organization the growth strategy flip-flops based on whatever the latest sales technique might be, or the latest industry report, or the latest competitive offering, this usually means that you have a poor product market fit. And it's often obvious to everybody but the leadership team. I was part of a company where whatever new sales strategy of the month, quarter, whatever it was, whatever the founder actually read most recently, suddenly we shifted the entire sales strategy. Nothing really changed anything. It was much deeper than that. But it was a sign that we had a poor product market fit, in my mind. The other companies, for me, number 4, are roots. So the organization lacks a reason for its existence, or it has become very disconnected from it. So call that mission, call that vision, call that BHAG, whatever term or phrase that might be attached to. The company doesn't really understand. It could just be who our customer is, why we do what we do, what's our why. And very often I've seen that, hey, let's throw up a mission, let's throw up a vision, and there's lip service. It doesn't really mean anything. It has no real authenticity to it. And so those are the types of organizations that can quickly get lost. Have no roots. The other analogy is, shifted off their moorings.
Is there an example of companies that you've worked with that you feel like?
Well, I think there's been a number of them. Early on, I was a part of a company that raised $200 million in venture capital, and that was just chasing. And part of that is so much pressure from investors to make money. Mm-hmm. You're just chasing whatever a customer may have said, or whatever the newest technology that was coming out. Because back then, this was late '90s. Lots of technology shifts going on, and so hey, we got to use that technology. No, we got to use that technology. Technology makes no difference whatsoever. It never has. Well, I don't say never has, but in terms of your product finding your market, and then what that means to the people trying to deliver it, has no real impact. And in this case, company raised 200, and I think it ended up being sold for $5 million. So, great win for those investors.
Wow. Yeah.
But it has an impact on morale because people have no idea what's going on, right? Everything is changing from one quarter to the next, 1 week to the next in some cases. So people really want to service the end user, the customer. Well, that's why they're there. Most people mean well, but in the absence of real guidance or real why, that gets lost.
Yeah.
So that's my 5 and 4.
Okay, well, I'll do 5 and 4 too then.
Yes, all right, keep it even.
Okay, so my number 5 is, on a personal level, I think humans do this, is we chase tomorrow. Or we're always looking for, when I achieve this, I'll be happy. When I fit into these jeans, I'll be happy. When I get this kind of job or this promotion, I'll be happy. Or my life will be better. But we end up oftentimes chasing. And I've also more and more aware, the more introspective and personal development I've done, the more I realize I've done that for sure. Once I get this account, once I land this opportunity, once I get this award, once I win this game, I'll be happy. Once I get this, I run my 3 miles under this time period, I'll be better. But it's not the case. You end up, there's always something more to chase. And so the whole premise behind stopping that is the fact that we're not living life right now. We're living life based on getting results and developing our self-worth and happiness based on what we're chasing and if we achieve it or not, which is really like you can be on a roller coaster. So the key to nipping that in the bud, I've learned, is just realizing the only life you really have and that you can control is right now in this space that you're in, listening to us. Me with Pear right now. Like, that's all I have. The only thing I have in the future is possibilities that I can create, but I want right now to be worth it and meaningful. Even if I'm in between accounts or working towards something, it's like that journey and that life happening, working towards it. must be meaningful for me. And so that's a good realization for a lot of people. Like you don't know if you have tomorrow, and the past is the past, but all you have is right now. So make it the best you can. And it's a nice perspective shift. The other, number 4, is that we are, and this is based on the data we've collected with the companies we've worked with to include military units, everyone's on tech. And it's like 4 hours or more a day. And so it's so distracting. We're so distracted by our phones.
You were saying?
Yeah.
Oh.
Exactly.
Oh,
so
sorry guys.
We're so distracted. Like our phones are beeping, they're buzzing, our notifications are going off. Even when we look at our phone, there's the blue light, there's the notifications that we have 20 text messages or 100 new emails or new voicemail. And that, we could be at dinner with someone, our phone's on the table, we get a notification, we stop ourselves in the middle of our thought to look at our phone, which that's rude to the person in front of you, and it's also distracting, and your brain is now getting used to that, bouncing back and forth. But that also doesn't promote happiness. Like that doesn't promote being present in the moment. Harvard Medical School put out a study that the more focused you are at the task at hand, whatever it is, the more happy you will be. So if you're at dinner or you're at work and you're on your computer and you get these buzzing sounds from your phone, you're very distracted and you're not going to be present. Therefore, your level of happiness will definitely decrease. So getting in the habit, so the point there is, give yourself boundaries with your phone and looking into other people's lives, which can happen with social media. Give yourself a boundary to it a certain amount of time a day, and maybe it's only in the evening for an hour or only in the morning for an hour, or not at all. Maybe it's at lunch for 20 minutes. But make sure you put the phone away. Give yourself a break from that buzzing sound so you can focus on whoever is in front of you and what you're doing. So boundaries is the key. Like I think we all know that the phones are distracting, but like physically take action to put it away, put it in the other room.
Yeah.
That's really helped me in the work I do because a lot of it's relationship building. So
that's great. My comment on that is starting this year, I put all my planning in a actual physical book. So because I found same. Because I found that for me, anytime I went to go look at my calendar, it was too easy. It's on, it's Google, so it's a Google product. Gmail's right there, the calendar's on the next tab. Mm-hmm. It was too easy to be distracted by, there's a new set of emails in, and totally gets me off track. I'm like a mouse, easy to get distracted. Or maybe it's a goldfish, some kind of small animal with a short attention span.
Yeah, I think
increasingly so. So I try to fight that with. Now it's intentional, now it's on paper. Makes it much, much easier.
Humans apparently have less of an attention span than goldfish. A goldfish is 9 seconds. Humans are now 8 seconds. Wow. So anyway.
What?
Yeah. So think of Dory, Finding Dory, which we have a large balloon in our house of Dory because our son just had a birthday. Okay, anyway,
so
number 3.
Number 3, okay, so back to kind of an organizational behavior and why morale might be low. Managers are untrained or just plain bad. So the truth is that people leave their manager, not the organization, and that's been posted around and published there's tons of studies that support that. But most people who manage people have never actually had any leadership training. And therefore they lead similarly to whoever their manager or managers were at their formative state in their career. And we may have different formative states, but like for me, for example, I think back to when I was 22, 23, and that manager was kind of had made an imprint on me because that was my first time in some level of leadership. So I was trying to take some tips. And there have been a couple others, and it has no bearing. That's what's impacted me in a way, and there's no bearing on, there's no guarantee that those were good or bad managers. It's just they were mine, and that's how I lead. And so I think morale is so, if you want to get to the root cause, it's at the management level. So training, some kind of leadership training for anybody who manages somebody is imperative, because people lead managers, not companies.
What kind of leadership training would you recommend?
There are tons that are out there. I mean, you did something recently, Landmark, which wasn't necessarily leadership training, but certainly helped.
Yeah, actually, the Landmark is it's an amazing platform that it'll help you personally, but with that it'll help you realize the behavior change that you need to take, that you can also help your employees take too, people that work under you. It'll give you a lot more empathy in life, which is, as a leader, you need to have that, or else you kind of become a dictator. You can't become a dictator. Okay, I'll go number 3.
Number 3, yeah.
Number 3, we complain that we don't have time. That's something that comes up a lot in the workspace, as well as when patients come and see us personally. And then when we're talking to family members or friends, it's like, I don't have enough time to do this. You do have time, and you just aren't using your time wisely. We have 24 hours in the day, and I think we all wish that there was 30, at least for sleeping purposes, but you do have the time. It's just you most likely have not learned to prioritize how you use your time and looking at the return on investment of your time. So my suggestion would be list all of the things that you do in a day, like work, what you're required to do at work, how much time you're on your phone, how much time you're driving, how much time you're eating, how much time you're with your family, and so you kind of put a dollar amount to it, right? Like we run a business, so where should we be focusing our time on the things that bring in the most return on investment of our time? So me scrolling through social media for an hour is probably not a good return on investment of my time, because I'm just there, I'm not doing anything, I'm looking at other people's lives, versus actually going out and getting that dopamine fix of creating relationships. I could be spending an hour doing outreach versus an hour on my phone. I could spend an hour with my son, right, at the end of the day, versus an hour on my phone. So tech kind of goes back to that tech. We get distracted by our tech and the things we have to do, when really, like, if you put things in their place, okay, I work from 9 to 5. I have an hour from 11 to 12. I'm going to eat and focus on eating. Right at the end of my work day, what do I've got, my husband, sometimes he'll pick Magnus up so I can go work out. I just ask, like, I'm going to go work out from 5 to 6. I come home, I have dinner with my son, I have time with him. But it's just looking at your time, writing it down physically, and seeing you actually do have the time if you make it. And if you're working with a spouse who also works, like, then ask for a little extra time during the week. Like, I need a little extra time. So can you take care of the kids when I go do this? I'll do this for you next week. But I found that in the workplace too, so that's for me personally, but professionally in the workplace, the more I use a paper calendar, and that really helps me see clearly what time blocks I have during the week. So I don't end up not over scheduling as much. And
a minute and a half.
Yeah, so I don't end up overscheduling, thank you. And that's that.
We're going to speed through these things to keep our time commitment.
We can just do the last 2 quickly.
Yeah, so my number 2 is that so morale's low oftentimes because the organization doesn't recognize that the workplace has a role in people's health, both, I call it emotional. I don't really like mental health seems to have such triggers, and what's the word? I'm blanking on the word. Call it triggers for now. In terms of what that means for folks. Stigma, thank you. So emotional health and physical health. Or the company just chooses to ignore this. It's like, hey, we're going to lose people, we're going to turn them, doesn't matter, it's part of the business model. That drives morale down, because firm belief on our part is that the workplace is the front line of healthcare, and there's opportunities there, because people spend so much time there. Health is important. Good health drives productivity, drives profits, drives everything in the business. That's my number 2.
Number 1? Why don't you do number 1
Number 1, okay. So all of the first 4 lead to this. The number 1 reason why I feel that morale can be low is that people don't feel important in the workplace. So to me, how people feel is the epitome of culture, right? And somebody said this, but culture eats strategy for breakfast. So if you think about your organization and its performance, culture is number 1. So I would say you start with making people feel important, like truly important,
Yeah.
and then build on the other things from there.
I like those. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. Okay, so we're gonna go over 20 minutes just a little bit, but I'll keep my two quick and simple. Last two. So you are unhealthy. You feel unhealthy. And that kind of plays into you don't have time. Well, you actually know how to get healthy. You know that moving more is important. You know that drinking more water is important. You know that eating well is important. So why aren't you doing that? Like, ask yourself, like, why aren't you taking the time? Because you know that that's going to help you with longevity. Like, we're not speaking to the choir here about longevity. Like, people know that movement, eating well, drinking water is good. They might not know exactly what to eat and exactly how to move well, but they know it's important. So why don't people do it? Because they're living for tomorrow. They're waiting for something to happen where they feel good enough to actually go outside, or feel good enough to fit into those jeans or those pants, or they want to look good. Well, brush aside trying to look good and just act. That is the solution to feeling healthy. You know what to do. Go out and act for a walk. Don't think about how you feel, good or bad. Like, get that out of your mind. Just go and do something. And
Nice.
then the first one is for morale. You don't like your job, and it kind of plays into what Pear was saying. Same thing. It's you don't like your job, and everything that happens at your job, you react to it, and you say you want to change your job, but are you really being proactive towards helping find solutions at your job? So if your manager isn't working for you, or the people with you, then speak up. Like, stop reacting and gossiping about other people or having conflict, and start being proactive. And you'll realize maybe those conversations will lead nowhere, and you realize, I need to switch jobs. Like, I really need to go to a different place. Or you might find, wow, you bring a solution to the table. People are going to start listening to you and looking to you for leadership. So I think that's an important note, and I've experienced this in my life. I've been reactive to things, and it doesn't help anybody. The only thing that helps is bringing to the table some kind of proactive approach, and sometimes I've gotten just like smashed with it, like they don't listen to me. But other times it's thank you, like I never thought of this, and I didn't know this was causing you unrest. So that's
Awesome.
my other two. Okay.
So if you run an organization, or you just want to talk more, if it's the health side, or if morale is low in your organization, our approach to this from a corporate, for just what we do as an organization, is helping bring health and accountability and teamwork into your organization. Start with movement, but movement impacts so many other things. So reach out, talk to us. We're happy to see how we can help.
Yep. We've experienced it too. So.
All right, guys.
All right. Thank you. See you next week, 9:30 Thursday, Pacific Standard Time. Our morale is really high here.
Woo!
Skelly, what do you think? Okay. Yeah.
He said yes.